What's up, everyone? Welcome to Live with Levy here on Fantasy Focus, brought to you by the Original Hooters. Here on Wednesday night, July 22nd, just the night before baseball. All you baseball fans, hopefully you're getting excited out there. We've got some real baseball coming up. We've got the Yankees versus the World Series champ Nationals to kick us off at 7 o'clock Eastern time. We got Garrett Cole versus Max Scherzer. Should be a good pitching duel. And then for the nightcap here on the Pacific Coast, it's early, 7 o'clock, but 10 o'clock for you Eastern folks times. Giants at the Dodgers, classic rivalry there. We got Johnny Cueto coming back off the surgery, facing off against Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers. Should be an entertaining matchup. I am most excited because this gives me the opportunity to play Monkey Knife Fight / fantasy baseball. I've been getting deep into the Monkey Knife Fight for NASCAR and even dabbling a little UFC. So I'm excited to get into something I know a little bit more about. So I've got some good winners cooked up for you guys tonight. So I'm going to get into them right away. If you got any questions here in the comments, definitely let me know. But if you've never played on Monkey Knife Fight before, it's exciting. It's different from the DraftKings of the world. I definitely recommend that you get involved with Monkey Knife Fight. And of course, if you're going to sign up for Monkey Knife Fight, make sure you use our code. It will get you a 100% deposit bonus up to $50. Just make sure you use the code FOCUSED when you sign up, or just follow the link here in the video. If it's your first time coming across our YouTube channel, make sure you are hitting that like button for me and the subscribe button. I will try to come out with these baseball DFS videos, keep them short and simple as often as possible. I'm not going to promise daily. I'm not going to overpromise and underdeliver, but I will get them out as often as I can. And as we get into football and NBA and some of these other sports, make sure you guys are tuning in and subscribing, because there's a lot of us involved in Fantasy Focus, and we're going to get you the best possible content. That is for sure. So let's win some money this year in fantasy sports. And appreciate all the love and support we've gotten so far throughout the years. And looking forward to our newer partnership with Monkey Knife Fight here. All right, so again, first game of the day, we've got the Yankees at the Nationals. Garrett Cole versus Max Scherzer. So in terms of Monkey Knife Fight, I'm going to share my screen here. If you've never played on Monkey Knife Fight before, I will kind of walk you through how these contests work here. Pretty straightforward. It's based off of the more or less premise. So again, if you've never played on Monkey Knife Fight, just keep in mind it's based off of the more or less, or if you will, if you're a gambler, over or under. So I've got some plays cooked up here for you. In terms of fantasy points, how fantasy points are calculated here on Monkey Knife Fight. Let me pull up the actual scoring. All right, so more or less. All right, so fantasy points are calculated by a single is going to get you 1 point, a double is going to get you 2 points, a triple 3 points, a home run 4, RBI 1, walk 1, hit by pitches 1, stolen base 1. Pitchers, an earned run is -3 points, an out is +1 point, and a strikeout is +1. So pretty straightforward. Think of this as like head-to-head scoring, if you will, in terms of those of you that play fantasy football, like myself, who are also involved in fantasy baseball. I'm a baseball fan at heart, but I'm a better fantasy football player than I am fantasy baseball player in general, for that matter. So this type of format for individuals like myself, where you have the opportunity to go head to head or point scoring, are definitely more friendly in that sense. So anyway, let's get into our picks here. So I'm going to go to my dashboard here and my upcoming events. As you'll see, I have several of them here. So first off here, I'm going to go, I'm going to stick with the Yankees Nationals game here first. So for me, we've got Juan Soto versus Gleyber Torres. Who is going to have more fantasy points? They're actually giving Juan Soto the advantage. So a half a point favorite or underdog here, should I say, to Gleyber Torres. Now, what makes this most interesting, the 2019 World Series was a great matchup between the Washington Nationals and the Houston Astros, right? Juan Soto did very well against Garrett Cole. This is a matchup that's intriguing to me. Gleyber Torres, the sample size, I don't believe he's actually faced Max Scherzer. So I'm not sure why Juan Soto, one of the best young players, best young hitters in the game, is such an underdog to Gleyber Torres. And I'm not discounting Gleyber Torres by any means here, but Gleyber Torres is facing off against Max Scherzer. So there's no denying that. For me, fantasy points here, it's only a half a point, right? I will take the underdog here and take Soto, who absolutely raked Garrett Cole, raked him over the coals, if you will, in the World Series. So I'm going to take the Soto side here. And on the second part of the matchup here, it's Stanton versus Judge. So they don't make this easy here by any means. Stanton has 18 at-bats against Scherzer in his career from his Florida Marlins days, back when he was called Mike Stanton. 18 ABs. Sure, he only hit 222, but he had 2 bombs and 5 RBIs. For me, without Judge seeing Scherzer in his career, unless I'm mistaken, I'm going to take Giancarlo Stanton over Judge. So I'm going to take the 2 underdogs essentially here. So as it relates to monkey knife fight, you got to go 2 of 2 here. And you're going to get, what is that, 2.5x your buy-in? Right. So I bet $5 here and I'm going to win. No, I'm not betting. I'm playing fantasy, right? So you're going to put in $5 and you're going to win $12.50. So that's my first rapid fire of the day. If you're watching that, again, if you're watching here on YouTube and you've got questions specifically about monkey knife fight or any of the fantasy plays for the first 2 opening days on Thursday, the 23rd here, just holler in the comments. I'm happy to answer them for you. All right. So sticking with that same game here, and unfortunately I can't pull this up live in the flesh because I've already played these contests for the day. But my second contest is also this is a more or less contest here. So I've got 3 of 3 here. I've got a $5 wager in to win 20. So 4x your buy-in if you get 3 of 3. You got to get all 3. So let's talk about strikeouts here. The more or less for Garrett Cole is set at 9.5. Now, historically, we know that Washington does not strike out a lot. And frankly, for that matter, the Yankees don't strike out a lot either. I believe in 2019, the Nats struck out the 4th least amount of times in Major League Baseball, and the Yankees were like right in the middle of the pack. I believe they were 14 or 15, something like that. With that being said, things are different in 2020. There's a lot of unknowns, right? For me personally, I played baseball growing up. If I'm looking at this as a gambler, if I'm looking at this as a fantasy player, I think the advantage lies with the pitchers, right? To me, it's easier for a pitcher to play long toss, to throw daily, every other day, weekly, whatever they're doing in the offseason. It's easier for them to get up to speed in terms of game speed, Major League Baseball speed, than it is for a Major League hitter. A Major League hitter can go to the cages every day. He can face, batting practice, whatever he wants until he's blue in the face. But until he sees a 100-mile-an-hour fastball from Max Scherzer or Garrett Cole, it's really not that real, right? So for me, the beginning couple weeks until these Major League hitters get up to speed and such, I'm going to lean the under. And the under to me, or the less in terms of fantasy points, is certainly there. I could be totally wrong. This could be a complete hit show as we restart the Major League Baseball season, but I'm just thinking outside the box as a baseball player historically here. For myself, I'm going to lean with the unders on the hitting side, or less than fantasy points, and I'm going to lean with the overs or the mores for pitching. So with that being said, I am going to take more than 9.5 strikeouts for Garrett Cole against the Nats in the World Series. Now, we do have a bit of a sample size here. In the World Series, he had 15 strikeouts in 14 innings pitched in the World Series versus the Nats. I believe he went 1-1 in such outings, but nevertheless pitched well. He did give up some runs, so there could certainly be some runs scored here, but I'm still going to take the more for strikeouts over 9.5 for Garrett Cole. Moving on to Max Scherzer in the second leg of 3 here. His more or less is set at 8.5. I know the Yankees, again, don't strike out all that often, but frankly, Giancarlo Stanton could go 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts and a dinger against Max Scherzer, and I would be totally happy because Giancarlo Stanton's going to get the over. Judge and more than fantasy points, but Max Scherzer could definitely still hit the over 8.5 strikeouts. I think he can do this on any outing, any given Thursday night for that matter. I will take the more on Max Scherzer. So last year I've got Juan Soto. This is total bases. See here down at the bottom, the TB, that is total bases. So not fantasy points for Juan Soto. So 1.5 is the more or less for Juan Soto. Juan Soto, he did pretty damn well in the World Series. Like I said, his historical track record speaks well for itself against Garrett Cole. So I'm going to take Juan Soto here all day in the more than 1.5 fantasy points, or sorry, total bases for Juan Soto. So that's my second there. That'll get you $5 will get you 20, 3 of 3. Moving on to another rapid fire here. Rapid fire Yankees at Washington again. I'm going to take, here we go. We've got Scherzer versus Cole plus 1.5 Ks. So if you're going to ask me head to head, I could see this being like 8 strikeouts, Scherzer, 9. Let's to go along with the narrative here. I'm going to say Garrett Cole has 10 strikeouts and Max Scherzer has 9. That is a realistic possibility here. So for that matter, I'm going to take Scherzer in the points here. So I'm going to take plus 1.5 versus Garrett Cole. I think that makes a lot of sense. Moving on to Juan Soto versus Claibor Torres. Talked about this matchup earlier in Rapid Fire 1 that we highlighted here. I'm gonna stick with Soto over Torres. We just haven't seen Torres in the scenario versus Max Scherzer, so I'm going to take Juan Soto here with his historic track record against Garrett Cole in the World Series. I know it's a small sample size, but the kid's good. I believe in Juan Soto. So the third leg here, I'm going to take Stanton over Asdrubal Cabrera. Asdrubal Cabrera in his career versus Garrett Cole, not great. 17 at-bats, 3 RBIs, hitting a whopping 118 in his career. So for me, I'll take the 222 of Stanton with the 2 dingers and the 5 RBIs. At least he's got some fantasy production. I mean, if that doesn't scream Giancarlo Stanton, I don't know what does. But for me here, this is runs and RBIs. So make sure you are checking specifically what the more or less is here. But I'm going to take Stanton over Cabrera here. For some reason, he's got a 0.5 point underdog status going against Asdrubal Cabrera, who is old as dirt. So moving on, my fourth contest here for the Yankees versus the Nats. This is risky again here. This is straight pitching matchup, right? So as you notice here, I only had like $50 in my account. So I took I went conservative here. I went $2 on this, 2 to win 5. So I'm going to go Garrett Cole more than 9.5 strikeouts and Max Scherzer more than 8.5 strikeouts. Again, if you're just tuning into this, my logic behind this, it's basically like these hitters are coming in cold. They've had a couple exhibition games. They haven't faced Major League pitching that's throwing this hard in a while. So for that reason, I'm going to lean the pitchers here early in the season. We'll see how that plays out. So I've got a minimal unit here on Cole and Scherzer. More. I believe this is my last matchup for this game. You can see all my NASCAR stuff in there too. You'll have to tune into the Back of the Pack podcast if you want some more analysis on the NASCAR. But for the early game here in Major League Baseball, excited about it. This is a 5-for-5 contest, more or less. 5 for 5 wins you 15x your buy-in. So you see this is a high risk play here. It's basically like throwing out a parlay if you're a gambler. It is $2 wager to win 30. So the payout is quite great there for Monkey Knife Fight. Garrett Cole, more or less than 9.5 strikeouts. Again, I'm going to go more. So I've got a lot of eggs in this basket. I do believe he's going to strike out a lot of people in this lineup, especially with no Anthony Rendon. I'm gonna stay true to my word here, and I'm gonna take more than 8.5 strikeouts for Max Scherzer against the Yankees as well. Opening day, he's going to come out fired up, ready to roll, prime time on ESPN, whatever network is showing the game. It's going to be a good time under the lights. I'll be watching NASCAR, frankly, because NASCAR's done such a damn good job of getting me hooked in. Maybe I'll throw Major League Baseball on the iPad tomorrow night. I don't know. Who knows if we'll have time, but I will be reading the stats. All right, so the third leg here. Aaron Judge, less than 1.5 hits and walks. Sounds like a really low number, right? 1.5. If he gets a hit and a walk, this is a loser, right? Listen, we're talking about Max Scherzer here. It's no disrespect to Aaron Judge, but it's Max damn Scherzer. To me, he's the front runner for the National League Cy Young Award, potentially an MVP. So I'm gonna lean with the experience here. I'm gonna go with the pitching again over Aaron Judge because Aaron Judge has not faced Max Scherzer. So we don't have the sample size. Fourth leg here. Soto, total bases, 1.5. How many times do I have to tell you how much this guy dominated Garrett Cole in the World Series? Maybe Garrett Cole is motivated. Maybe he's shaking in his britches. I don't know what the scenario is, but I am going to rely on historical data here to start the Major League Baseball season. So total bases, 1.5. It's not a lot. This guy hits a double off Max Scherzer, which he's done several times already. Sorry, off of Garrett Cole. It's more than possible for Soto to be more than 1.5 total bases. And here we go. Claibor Torres coming in at runs and RBIs. Set at 0.5 point. 0.5. Claibor Torres is one of the best young baseball players out there, in my opinion. I know we're talking about Max Scherzer, and I've talked great things about Max Scherzer, but listen, we just need a single up the middle with a runner on third. That's all we need from Claibor, and we're in the green. So for that reason, I am going to go with more than 0.5 point for Claibor Torres in terms of runs and RBIs. All right, so moving on to the next game here. Let's see. We've got the Dodgers and the Giants. Obviously, the Giants are underdogs here, but there's some interesting stats to go around for sure. So the first one I got my eye on here, and I believe I have 4 picks for you. Yeah, I have 4 picks for you here on the later game here if you are on the East Coast. But I'm going to go with more or less in a 2-for-2, 2.5x your buy-in. Corey Seeger, Kyle Seeger, Seattle, other Seeger, 2 good ball players. Corey Seeger, more than 1.5 hits and walks. Seeger historically has done quite well against Johnny Cueto. Johnny Cueto is coming back off of Tommy John surgery. If you want to know about Seeger, Seeger has 34 at-bats against Johnny Cueto. 3 dingers, 6 RBIs. Good for a 353 batting average. If you don't like numbers, I don't know what you're doing playing DFS. Give me the more on whatever Seeger's lines are at. These lines can move quickly. So if you're listening to this here on Wednesday night, get your more on 1.5 hits and walks for Seeger. Shit, he could have 2 walks because Johnny Cueto is scared of him. Trust me. All right, then moving on to Hunter Pence. We're going to go to the other side here. Hunter Pence. I'm going to go more Total bases, 1.5. I feel like they're making this too easy for us. Am I crazy? We're talking about Clayton Kershaw, right? Yeah, Clayton Kershaw's pitching. Who cares? Nobody has faced Hunter Pence more. Sorry, nobody has faced Clayton Kershaw more than Hunter Pence. Hunter Pence, 36 at-bats, hitting nearly 400 against the Southpaw, 389, one dinger, 5 RBIs. I will take my chances against an aging, I almost said old, an aging Clayton Kershaw. He's still a great pitcher. He's got a lot more finesse out there. He's still good. Don't get me wrong. But 1.5 total bases doesn't seem like that far-fetched of a scenario for Hunter Pence. So I'm going to go more and more, 5 to win 1250 on the Seeger more and the Pence more. All right, so moving on to another more or less here. This is you get 3 out of 3, win 4x your buy-in. So I'm going to go with Mookie Betts here, more than 2.5 fantasy points. Rumor has it that Mookie Betts, I'm pretty sure he just signed today, like a $365 million extension. He's playing on 1 year, $27 million right now. So total to the Dodgers, 13 years, 392 million. Are you kidding me? If you don't show up on opening day, I don't know. I don't know what to say, because there's not a better time to show up than opening day, especially after announcing the day before the season officially starts your official contract. For that matter, let's talk about Johnny Cueto some more. Johnny Cueto, once a great pitcher, hasn't pitched an opening day in a while, coming off Tommy John surgery. I don't think he's going to be all there. I'm seeing 5 earned runs for Johnny Cueto. I see him exiting before the start of the 5th inning. Mookie Betts, this lineup is absolutely ridiculous. They need to get off to a hot start. Mookie Betts needs to prove his worth in this lineup and get off to a hot start. So more than 2.5 fantasy points is a lock for me. And I know we don't have the sample size against Cueto, but I frankly don't think Johnny Cueto is the same Johnny Cueto we saw from several years ago. Again, here, I'm going to go with Hunter Pence over 1.5 fantasy points. 1.5 fantasy points is nothing. Hit a double off Clayton Kershaw after he hangs you a meatball with a 4-0 lead in the 2nd inning, and Hunter Pence hits the more, right? All right, so next up, we've got Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger is another guy that absolutely rakes Johnny Cueto. He's only got 17 at-bats, but he's got 1 dinger and an RBI, and he's hitting 353. So I guess he doesn't absolutely rake him. He just rakes him. Who doesn't rake Johnny Cueto these days? It's Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger's a great hitter. He's got a high likelihood to hit a home run in this game. So for me, I'm going to take the Dodgers here. If I think the Dodgers are going to score 4 runs in the first 2 innings, I think Mookie Betts and Cody Bellinger have a big part of it. So again, in the 3 for 3, 4x your buy-in, I've got more than 2.5 fantasy points for Mookie Betts, more than 1.5 fantasy points for Hunter Pence, and more than 2.5 fantasy points for Cody Bellinger. All right, moving on to my last 2 plays of Thursday night, July 23rd, here on Monkey Knife Fight for Major League Baseball opening night. I'm going to go with a more or less again here. So strikeouts, Clayton Kershaw, 6.5. Giants stink. I think they're going to stink this year. I'm wearing a Giants pullover. I am not confident in the Giants to own Kershaw. Kershaw's a strikeout guy. He's a finesse guy. 6.5 seems low to me. So I'm going to take more all day on this, and I feel very confident about it. Second play, this is actually one of my most confident plays of the day. Maybe I should have put more on it. Maybe I will. Second play of the day, Johnny Cueto, less than 4.5 strikeouts. This lineup is absolutely loaded. If I think they're going to score 4 runs in the first 2 innings of this game, I don't think that Johnny Cueto is going to strike out many people. I could literally see him going 2 2/3 inning, giving up 6 earned runs to this offense. Now, I know I've been chirping about pitching, doing this and that and blah, 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 and dominating. We're talking about the Dodgers here, and we're talking about Johnny Cueto, a year removed from Tommy John surgery. This is going to be batting practice for the Dodgers. I don't know what the line is, but I'm assuming the line's going to be set at 9.5, 10.5. Take the over. Take more. Take more in fantasy points. Take more in strikeouts. Everything Dodgers. Dodgers are going to dominate here. Leading us to Corey Seeger. Total bases 1.5. This is a no-brainer. All day. More for me without even thinking about it. So that's 3 of 3. That'll get you 4x. You're buying. In my last 4x you're buying here, rapid fire. I like these a lot. We're going to go Kershaw versus Quito. This is purely based on strikeouts. 2.5 point favorite, plus 2.5 points for Kershaw. So basically we're going to need him to get 3 more strikeouts, and I'm going to take that all day over Quito. If I think Kershaw is going to have 8 strikeouts, then I think Johnny Cueto is going to have less than 5. Let's do it a better example. Let's go 7 and 4, because then we hit both our bets. So I'm going to go Kershaw plus 2.5 all day here without even thinking about it. All right, Cody Bellinger versus Trey Turner. Cody Bellinger is plus 0.5 point. For me, Cody Bellinger is a no-brainer here. I like Cody Bellinger as a plus 0.5 point here. I know Trey Turner is a good ball player. Sorry, Justin Turner. I'm saying Trey Turner because I'm thinking about Nationals. And Justin Turner historically has done well against Cueto here as well. So just to give you a sample size here, Justin Turner batting .346 in 26 at bats with 1 homer and 2 RBIs. And Bellinger, like I said earlier, 17 at bats, .353, 1-1. So for me, the reason I'm going to go this route is because I just believe that Bellinger is a better ball player than Turner, and that's not discounting Turner by any means. But if I'm going to get points, even that 0.5 point, if they push here, if neither of them do shit, then I'm going to win based on the Bellinger side. So I'm going to take Bellinger plus 0.5 point. And the last the last of the 3 legs here is Seeger. Again, I've been very high on Seeger. Expecting big things from you, kid. But going with a 0.5 point underdog against Dubon. No idea how to pronounce that. Forgive me if I'm wrong here. Don't roast me too bad in the comments, but I'm going Seeger. I'm going on historical data here. It's a no-brainer for me. So that is all of my picks for Major League Baseball opening night. So Aiden, thanks for joining me here, man. You're thinking at least 8 Ks for Kershaw. Yeah, for me, the fact that it's set at 6.5 is just way too low, man. So I would get up on one of those monkey knife fights. I believe you can even get hopefully you can still get a Kershaw versus Cueto as well. And if it's still set at 6.5 for Kershaw and less than 4.5, or sorry, 4.5 for Cueto, I'm trying to push you towards less. Then lock it in, man, because I'm with you. I think Kershaw on opening day, they go together like lamb and tuna fish. If you don't know the Adam Sandler movie, but anyway, yeah, I agree with you, man. I'm thinking a big day for Kershaw, and I'm thinking the Dodgers bring the boomsticks in the earlier game. I'm thinking it's going to be a much lower scoring game due to the premier pitching matchup. Hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Johnny Cueto comes back like Johnny Cueto from whatever it was, 2016. I obviously don't know the answer to that, but it is what it is, and I'm excited to play Monkey Knife Fight. I'm excited to get back in it, to fantasy baseball. If you guys got any questions, holler in the comments here. If you're watching this on late Wednesday night or early Thursday morning, I will get back to you. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at Fantasy Focused with an extra D on there, so 2 Ds, and on Instagram at Fantasy Focused. If you slide in the DMs, I will answer you. But looking forward to winning some money with you guys on Monkey Knife Fight. Again, if you've never played a Monkey Knife Fight before and you're playing the old school DraftKings and FanDuel and all that, make sure you come on over to Monkey Knife Fight. I think what makes it unique is the fact that you are playing against yourself. You're playing against the house pretty much. And it's just more or less. It's that simple. So looking forward to it for baseball season here, crunching historical data for you. I'll be looking at a lot of National Football League / NFL picks. Looking forward to that for more or less fantasy points as well. And yeah, that's all I got. Mariella, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. And if you guys got any other questions, hit me up in the messages here, and good luck on Monkey Knife Fight. Talk to you guys soon.